Well, every day something happens new in the Bahamas.
Yes, every day.
So there's breaking news coming from the magistrate court on Nassau Street. And the breaking news is there has been a shooting at, nearby, or around the magistrate court Nassau Street. We do know that moments ago the ambulance had arrived, and we do know that there are other members of the media who have arrived at the scene and is assembling. So that is the breaking news, a shooting. And the reports that we have is that a Negro man has been shot on Nassau Street. Well, it's really at South Street because the magistrate court is situated on South Street next to the Nassau Street police station. So it is scandalous that there can be a shooting at the magistrate court. But I'm waiting for further particulars. Meanwhile, the Central Detective Unit of the Royal Bahamas Police Force should be holding a press conference at this very moment to discuss an American citizen who is reported to be missing here in the Bahamas. You would recall that yesterday we discussed the American citizen by the name of Taylor Casey. Well, they're having a press conference at CDU, so it would be very interesting to find out what our elite unit of criminal investigators have to say about Taylor Casey. You would recall that Taylor Casey is missing on Paradise Island. They are, it is alleged, have found her cell phone on the beach. So we don't know what is going on, but these are the things that are happening. So broadcasting live from ILTV studios located here at University Drive. Welcome to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Moncur. And of course, today is Wednesday, the 26th of June, 2024. God save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. God save the King, King Charles III, and the entire royal family. God save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. They're shooting gun at Nassau Street Court. This is powerful. I'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. There's breaking news coming from the Nassau Street Magistrate Court. A Negro suspect whose case apparently may have been adjourned. While leaving the court, 2 Negro gunmen waited for him. It is reported on Nassau Street. There they ambushed him. And as they ambushed him, the Negro victim had a friend in another car. His friend came to his rescue, and there was a shootout. That is the information that I am receiving at this very, very moment. So that is the breaking news taking place around the Nassau Street Court on South Street, Nassau Street, right next to a fire station and a police station. Can you believe it? The suspect coming out of court and 2 Negro gunmen waiting for him opened fire on him. My God. But he had a friend reportedly in a car, and that friend returned fire. So they had a shootout. So I don't know how that was dealt with. I'm waiting for further reports on it, but it's breaking news as it began to do some raining. So this is what is going on here in the country. You would recall that yesterday when I told you about the final retirement of the president of the Court of Appeal, Sir Michael Barnett, who was a former Chief Justice. I told you it was Sir Michael Barnett and former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram who built the Nassau Street Magistrate Court. Nassau Street Magistrate Court. And you would recall I told you that the level of security they put in it was to prevent things like this from happening. And I give you an example how the FNM activist Omar Archer, notwithstanding that this building is high off the ground, would you believe it? Omar Archer jumped from the highest floor of that court, and I was so saddened that he broke one of his legs, but he recovered. But it's a wonderful structure, but they had big shootouts around there. I wonder how the police handled it when they arrived. Can you imagine the police arriving at a scene and 2 sets of Negroes are firing gun at each other? I wonder whose side the police went with. Or did the police then return fire and start shooting at the 2 sets of gunmen? I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is, Lord, send down the rain. Send down the Holy Ghost rain, because we need Holy Ghost rain on Nassau Street. We need it on South Street. We need, Lord, send down the rain, because I can't believe it that this is happening in my country. But that is what is happening. But I better remain calm. I forgot that I'm sick, so let me remain calm.
Indeed.
Today I'm going to have a professional man who's going to join me, so we can talk about all these things that are taking place. But right now, my spiritual advisor, he appears to be anointed by the Holy Spirit, and I'm going
you
to
don't understand that. That's a
invite
very
him.
powerful thing, Sandra.
Bradley Roll, welcome to Freedom March.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Good
Man,
to be here.
I
The rain
really-
is down, mind you.
It's raining.
The rain is down.
My spiritual advisor, it is not raining hard enough.
It's raining.
We need rain like what is raining in America. We need a flood to just wash away that bullskate taking place
The evil.
on Nassau Street.
What happened, Sandra? What's really going
Well,
on here?
according to, I want you to look at these copious notes that I have.
What really happened?
As I explained, examine the notes. we understand that a Negro man, apparently he was leaving court
Okay.
as he exited the court and apparently got on Nassau Street. Unbeknown to him, two hitmen, Negro though they be, were evading him. They then opened fire on him. But the two gunmen were unaware that in a vehicle was another Negro person who was friend to the victim. That friend of the victim, it is alleged that he returned fire. So there was like a shootout, either on Nassau Street or South Street, or at the junction of Nassau Street and South Street. That is the intelligence that I have received. We do know that one of the Negro people was injured because, according to a reliable source, an ambulance had arrived at the scene. And of course, I don't know what's going on, because if you are familiar with the Magistrate Court on Nassau Street, just to the west of the Magistrate Court is the Nassau Street Police Station. And at that police station is a sub-fire station before you get to Nassau Street, where there is an area reserved for the Negro people to sit down under one big tree. Well, from the description I've received, it appears that that is where the shooting took place. So, my spiritual advisor.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Indeed, but I lost the notes.
You lost the notes, okay.
I lost the notes. You have to open the phone.
I'll
back up.
open up this phone for you again, and I call
I'll
on
read it quickly.
Ezekiel to send notes.
All right, so
send
it
notes.
does seem as if
Go
that
ahead.
there was a shootout on Nassau Street. So suspects attempted to murder a man just as he exited the courtyard on Nassau Street. This is a man whose case has been adjourned, was ambushed by gunmen as he attempted to make his way from the court. Friends of the would-be victim, who was in another vehicle, returned fire on the suspect, resulting in a shootout. Sources in the note told us that the two ambulances are on the scene along with police at this moment. So that's
what's going on. So it's two ambulances are on the scene, and this level of gangsterism is so sophisticated. And please understand what I mean. Imagine the case is adjourned. So for many people, that might have caused frustration. But some would suggest that is the wheel of justice slowly grinding. They're grinding, but slowly. Men baited my spiritual advisor. Please don't do this to me, man.
Don't favor man. You know, in Bahamian vernaculars and stuff like that, just use different terms, okay? Don't forget, we have an intellectual in the studio with us, so don't use those street jargons.
Yeah, but I'm not as educated as the intellectual.
Don't use those street jargons, man.
We're
Just say, like you were saying, the wheels of justice is not spinning fast enough for some of these men, and they feel as if they need to take this justice in their hands.
Yes.
Yes.
And so they open fire on the suspect in an attempt to kill him. Can you imagine committing murder in the arm reach of the courts? Justice is not safe. And I am tired of justice being stabbed in her most vital parts. My spiritual advisor, please lead us along spiritual lines.
Yeah, let's this is the last passage I'm going to share today on this subject of tithing that is being taught incorrectly by a lot of churches. I understand that there are a lot of churches who are now repenting of this. They have been misleading their flocks for a while, telling them that they have to tithe, when the New Testament doesn't teach that. It's an Old Testament teaching. I can guarantee you that I've proven over the last couple of days that tithing is a part of the Mosaic law. It is tied to the temple. It is tied to the storehouse. It is tied to the Levitical priesthood. It is tied to the Levites. It is tied to the old Mosaic system. It has nothing to do with Christianity. So this Sunday, everyone under the sound of my voice, when you go to church, tell your preacher you ain't paying no such thing as tithes. You're going to give as God has prospered you, and as you purpose in your heart, you're going to give, and you're going to give freely without being reluctant, and you're going to give without being compelled to give whatever amount that they try to force you to give. Tell them no, because the New Testament doesn't teach that. You're under grace, you're not under the law. So in Nehemiah chapter 10, 35 to 37, this is the last I'm going to share. There's so many more, there's so many others I can share. Nehemiah says, we also assume responsibility for bringing to the house of the Lord each year the first fruits of our crops and of every fruit tree. And I agree with Sandra. If I can pay tithes, I bring in my deli tree, I can bring my banana tree, I can bring some grains, I can bring some wine, I can bring some oil, because that's the tithing, the tenth of that. It says, we also assume responsibility for bringing to the house of the Lord each year the first fruits of our crops and of every tree, every fruit tree, as it is also written in the law. We will bring the firstborn of our sons and of our cattle, of our herds, of our flocks to the house of God, to the priests ministering there. That's who this going to. Moreover, we will bring to the storerooms, I tell you, it is tied to the storehouse, of the house of God, which was a temple. To the priests, the first of our ground meal, of our grain offering, of the fruit of all of our trees, of our new wine and olive oil. And we will bring a tithe of our crops to the Levites. For it is the Levites who collect the tithes in all the towns where people, listen, I told you all to go out and invest yourselves in a red Bible. But you all are refusing to do it. If you don't buy a red Bible, you're not going to see these things. Too many of us just go to these denominations and whatever the preachers say, hand clap, amen, we going home. But we ain't check the red Bible. Listen, find yourself a red Bible, because if you don't, you won't see these things that I'm trying to show you. And listen, when I say red Bible, I'm not talking about a R-E-D Bible. I'm talking about a R-E-A-D Bible. You need to find yourself a red Bible. Numbers chapter 10. What was that again now, Mr. Medusa, that I read? In Numbers chapter 10, and it was verses what? Numbers chapter 10, 35 to 37. Please. And yes, Nehemiah, forgive me. It's Nehemiah chapter 10, verses 35 to 37, shows you exactly what tithing is all about. It's an old law. It's not in the New Testament. As a matter of fact, a very popular TV evangelist by the name of Creflo Dollar, he has come public and apologized for teaching this erroneous doctrine. And he has promised to give back all of his parishioners their monies that he's asked them to give in error. Creflo Dollar has come out and said that he was wrong for this teaching. And he's now going to give back all of the monies that he's asked people to give under this erroneous teaching. Tithing is not for Christians. It is an Old Testament teaching. The word of God is forever and ever blessed. Thank you, producer. Back to you, Sandra.
I thank you, my spiritual advisor.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, there are so many things happening in the country. But before we go into any more particulars, I'm going to invite my spiritual advisor to pay for the show by reading some advertisement.
Absolutely. The Work Center, located on Rosetta Street across the road from Roberts Furniture, is your one-stop shop for back to school. Dickies, Timberlands, and many, many more. Come on down and let their friendly staff assist you with getting ready for back to school. So that's the Work Center. All right, that's it. Go ahead, Sandra.
Well, I thank you, my spiritual advisor. Meanwhile, having told you of the shooting outside the Nassau Street, South Street Police Station, we do know that there has been a shooting. We do know that the case for a Negro man had been adjourned. and there were two Negro gunmen awaiting his departure, where it is alleged they opened fire on him. But unbeknown to those gunmen, the intended victim had some friends in a car, and they returned fire. So you had two sets of shooting taking place. One set designed to kill the man who exited the court, whose case was adjourned, and the return fire on those men. So that is what took place there. I don't know how the police dealt with that by the time they arrived. I don't know if they met the gunfight taking place. And when you look at how far the police court, or should I say the police station is, it's not too far. If the shooting actually took place on South Street, the police is less than 5 feet from South Street. If it took place on Nassau Street, when you calculate the extension of the police building to the west, that's another 20 feet. So that's a short distance, but that is the new mayhem taking place. So it is to be seen whether the new acting commissioner of police, that's Deputy Commissioner Lemon Delaveau, will now up the ante. And I'm publicly calling for more security outside the courts, because this nonsense has to be stopped. You would recall that a couple of years ago, there was a Negro man who was on trial, and as he was being returned to his cell, his Negro girlfriend, she wrongly submitted to his leadership, and she threw him a gun. And the next thing we know, there was mayhem outside that court. All right? Anyway, when I return, I'm going to bring on with us a man who is trained in the law and who has been a wonderful counsel and attorney at law. I'll surprise you when I return. This is Freedom March. God save the judiciary. We need more security. God save the King, Your Majesty. Welcome back to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. Bradley Roll is my spiritual advisor, and we have a special guest with us who shall remain with us until the show is over. His name is Godfrey Pinder, Dr. Godfrey Pro Pinder. His training, his qualification, he is an attorney at law. He first received his legal degree, if I have it correctly, in California. So, Godfrey Pinder,
Yes.
welcome to Freedom March.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
This is powerful. Well, we started the show by pointing out that just moments ago, there was a shooting outside the Nassau Street Magistrate Court,
Yes.
in which a man whose case was adjourned this afternoon, he was ambushed by two Negro gunmen,
Yes.
but in the course of them shooting at him, it is alleged that he had some friends who was in another car, and they returned fire,
Yes.
culminating in two ambulances having to be brought to the scene. You're trained in the law. You're also trained in human psychology and sociology, because I think once while you were in the United States, I think you did you do sociology, or did you do...
Social welfare from a psychoanalytical point of view.
This is powerful.
Yes.
So based on your training, what observation would you make based on what we have just told you?
Well, my training, thanks for the question, it's a good one. My training would have to be brought about not only in the United States, law there, but a doctor of law there, but also in England, where I took the highest exam there and won all the debates. I would say that what is happening here, first and foremost, it might be a drug war going on between the two sides. And what they are afraid of is this man testifying. Now, in America, defendants do not testify. If you watch the Donald Trump hush money case, you would notice that he did not testify. But in the British system, you must testify, because if you do not testify, the presumption of innocence goes out the window. Even though they say you're innocent until proven guilty, you're really guilty until proven innocent, because you have to prove yourself innocent by virtue of the testimony, which you shouldn't do. And I think the other side is afraid that he might testify and say something damaging to the higher-ups in the hierarchy of criminal behavior.
Wow.
And so this criminal situation is such that they have to deal with it on the streets, because the gunman can't take him to the police and say, he's going to say something bad to incriminate me, so arrest him. So they have to deal with it as they deal with it in the jungle by fire. And it's the law of the jungle, really, here in the Bahamas. And they pick their jungle wherever they want. If they want it in Camp Road, they have it there. If they want it in East Street, they have it there. But they have gone now sacrosanct and gone before the courts, which indicates that they don't care about anything. They have no respect for the rule of law. They have no respect for the Constitution. They have no respect for the law of God, loving your neighbor as yourself. They just have no respect whatsoever, anything to the contrary, notwithstanding.
This is powerful, Dr. Pinder. You would recall, I don't know if you have been following First International News,
Yes.
where the Americans have alleged that an American woman is missing here on Paradise Island. That has developed into a lot of controversy.
Yes.
The conservative media has refused to say that this is an American citizen who's really a male, but the Americans have decided that he is a female. Some say he's cross-gender or
Yes.
transgender.
Transgender.
You would recall that while you were active in the Supreme Court, you had a case
2 cases.
involving a Negro citizen who had been accused in the disappearance of an American at Paradise Island.
Yes, 2 of them.
Would you tell us, do you see any comparison? Tell us your experience with that case.
All right. You mean my case?
Your case.
As compared to this particular case?
As compared to this particular case.
Okay, this case goes back to 1997 or thereabouts, where a young black man, I won't mention his name because he's free, was charged with the killing of 2 school teachers by ligature. Ligature is a rope put around one's neck and twisted. It's called strangulation. And the police got statements from him saying he did it, how he did it, and they even had a video showing where he pointed out that the grave was where he laid them, both of them. They were friends, and they were school teachers, one American, one British. Of course, at the end of the day, I got him off because they had a statement that said he maneuvered this way and maneuvered that way, and eventually came across them and strangled them. Well, the reason why he couldn't say he maneuvered that way and maneuvered this way, because he couldn't read.
Wow.
And the first statement they got from him, they said, do you want to read it? He said, no, I can't read. And what they did was they put at the bottom, I can't read. Then they come with a second statement where they have a voluminous amount of words, all saying fantastic long words. I maneuvered this way, I went, etc. And I brought his school teacher, 3rd grader, to say that he could not read. He was freed. Of course, they brought a DNA man from the United States, a so-called doctor who had a master's degree. But the law said you had to have a doctorate degree in order to be an expert. So when we found he had a master's, the DNA was thrown out. And of course, he was acquitted. And then we came with the next one, and he was acquitted as well. So, with respect to what we are having here, this missing person, the facts in my particular case, with this particular young man who was accused of killing these 2 people, were that they were missing or molested by persons who were lurking in the bush. And so it is possible that we have that same thing going on again, where people are lurking in the bush and molesting or kidnapping particular individuals.
But this man whom they have described as a female, or this female
Yes.
that they say is missing, is in fact a man.
Yes.
Certainly, I don't think there would be any bushmen who would be interested in a female who is in fact a man.
Yeah, well, another so-called transvestite might be interested. Because transvestite to transvestite, heterosexual to heterosexual.
I never thought about that.
Same sex to same sex.
I never.
So it is possible this particular man might be jealous, or something might be wrong, and he might have come behind. You see, people are very vicious in that particular category of individuals. And if something goes wrong, they don't report it to the police, they deal with it in hand. And we've seen how it happened in the Bahamas over the years, where people have been stabbed repeatedly, etc., etc., etc. But the reason why I say people were in the bush was because when I won the first case with the English teacher being killed and murdered, and my man was charged for it, I was on the BBC with my daughter Gandhi. And I later got a call from an English woman who said, Dr. Pinder? I said, yes. She said, you were right to release him. He was not guilty. I said, why do you say that? She said, well, when I was there, persons were in the bush molesting me. I said, really? She said, yeah. I said, you calling me from England? She said, yes. I said, well, how do you know about me? She said, well, you're on the front of all the bloody dailies in London.
Wow.
She indicated that people were in the bush pulling people because this young man was innocent. They even accused him of raping one of the teachers, but he was a virgin, and that was proved. He did a course saying no sex till marriage, NSTM.
NSTM.
No sex till marriage. So if he did that, he couldn't have raped anyone because she wasn't involved in sex. And I brought the pastor in to testify that he was in that course. He couldn't read, he couldn't write. They had to set up a special video for him to learn this. And he was protecting all of the ladies from men who were aggressive towards them. So all of this was good. And I brought one of the ladies over. And I asked her the question. I said, this man in the box, in the dock, is charged with murder. Would you invite him to your house for dinner?
And what did she say?
Immediately.
Wow.
I said, immediately? She said, yes, immediately. I said, why? He said, because he's a good man. He protected us from all the other men.
Wow.
And that won the jury's heart. And actually, the foreman of that particular jury was a policeman
Really?
who worked at Paradise Island.
Really?
And of course, he...
Wow.
And so someone asked me, how did you win the case? As if to assume that I maybe did something magical.
Yeah.
I said, well, first of all, the DNA was thrown out, and that was never done before. And when people see DNA being thrown out, they figured there's no more case. If the man can throw, if the lawyer can throw out the DNA, we're not going to convict this man of anything.
Wow. So you think it's possible that there are people hiding in the bushes?
Yes, it could be another transvestite.
Really?
Someone jealous, his boyfriend, or those are rich people. When you make that transfer, it takes a lot of money to transfer from one to the other. And they had a man who used to be in the decathlon champion. I forgot his name now, but he was married to one of those ladies who were in those shows.
Kardashian girls.
What's his name?
Is it Bruce Jenner?
Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner was a very rich man, and so forth and so on. He was transferred, and then he got the idea that, well, I'm tired being a transvestite, I'm going to transfer back.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So he was a man.
Turned into a woman.
He turned into a
And then he
woman.
went back.
And then he went back.
Yeah, and he was a decathlon champion with Rayford Johnson.
Really?
He won 10 decathlon
Was he
championships.
successful in returning?
I understand he was, or did he stop short?
Well, the process is there, but I don't know if he was totally successful. But yeah, he started the process to turn back into.
So my theory is correct that while they are in the Bahamas looking for a woman, he might have converted back to being a man.
Well, I don't know if it could have been that quick, but it's quite possible. No, I think this is a situation in which two transvestites are at war with each other for one reason or another. It could be money, because as I said, these are rich people. And it could also be love. And of course, where love is involved between persons of that nature, I've discovered, from afar, of course, that, I've discovered that the jealousy is so great that they're very vicious towards each other, unfortunately. And it could be that if you're over here, you can do any kind of damage you want and nobody will find out over there.
Wow.
And you can do it and get out of town in such a quick time that nobody would even know what you did.
Wow.
So they could have killed him, possibly. They could have tied maybe a stone around his leg and drop in the bottom of the ocean.
Well, there is emerging evidence that his cell phone, I think they are
Yes.
saying, was found on one of the beaches at Paradise Island.
Yes.
I think it's cell phone, but up
Oh.
to this point,
Well, that could only mean this.
yes.
A fast boat came in probably as close to the beaches as possible. And I had a case like that where this gentleman ran into a tourist on the beach, and of course I got him off too. That was before Justice Blake. A fast boat could have come in. He could have been kidnapped, put on the fast boat while they were resting with him. His cell phone dropped, or his iPhone or whatever. Put him on the boat and spirited him out back to Florida.
That's very interesting,
Yes.
even though it is reported that he's from Chicago.
No, but you got to get to the States before you can get to Chicago.
This is true. This
Yes,
is true. This
so
is true.
you had to get him on the mainland.
Yes.
Then, and if he was rich, a private plane, a jet could have been lurking somewhere, and put him on the jet, and there we go.
Wow, wow, wow. So
You know,
if you were advising the Ministry of Tourism
Yes.
on how to deal with what they now regard as negative international publicity, what advice you would have given?
Well, first of all, no publicity is negative.
Really?
All publicity is good so long as they spell your name right.
This is powerful.
One time I was put in the punch, and they called me Jeffrey Pender, not Godfrey. I called up Ivan, my good friend of late. He's passed now. I said, Ivan, you're talking about me, but you spelt my name wrong. He said, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Pender. So he changed around and put Godfrey in there. I said, thank you very much. My professor at Berkeley, where I received double honors, said, Dr. Pender, you going back to the Bahamas? I said, yes. He says, a small place. I said, yes, but I want to go back home. He said, well, you're going to be a big fish in a small pond. I said, that's quite all right. I don't mind being a big fish in a small pond. He said, and you're going to get publicity? I said, yes. He said, but don't worry about it. I said, why not? He said, so long as they spell your name right, all publicity is good. So with respect to this, attention is being drawn to the situation. But it would have been bad publicity if a Bahamian was accused or was one who they wanted for this particular kind of thing. And since it seems to be international rather than intra-national, that is within the Bahamas, it is not bad publicity.
This is very, very powerful, Dr. Pender. My spiritual advisor, do you have anything you would like to
I'm
ask the probe?
listening. I'm listening and I'm learning.
You're going to learn.
Because what is happening though, Dr. Pender,
Yes.
is you are correct. The Bahamas is gaining publicity again, but then it could be in a negative light. And then the Ministry of Tourism now has an obligation to see if they could do what is called some damage control. Because
Yes.
you don't want our tourism product to be damaged where folks saying, but it does seem as if when you go to the Bahamas as a transvestite, it's possibly you go missing.
Yes.
That's the connotation I'm getting from the Ministry of Tourism, and that they want to make sure that this is investigated properly, and the Bahamas is seen as a place where you would want to come on vacation.
Yes. Well, yes, that's well and good, but if you have no control over it, what can you do?
Absolutely, and I agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
And in this case, it would appear that the Ministry of Tourism has no control. And if international peoples come into the country and commit crimes, you can't blame any Bahamian or entity or person. And so we have to wait for an answer. We cannot, the persons in the United States can't rush to judgment.
Right.
They have to pause
Right.
and wait until they get the information before they accuse the Ministry of Tourism or the Bahamas. And that is very important, but I do agree with you. We don't want bad publicity, but it is only bad publicity if they had said a Bahamian was involved in this particular thing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and there's evidence of that.
But none at all.
No,
Yeah.
no.
None at all.
Is the Ministry of Tourism acting prematurely, and are they getting in the way of a police investigation? One would have thought that the Ministry of Tourism, being a responsible ministry, would tell the international media,
Yes.
our elite police force is conducting an investigation,
Yes.
and until such time as that investigation is completed, we are in no position to say anything on this specific case other than to say that the Bahamas has been very safe for females. It has been safe for transgender because it is alleged that we have some transgenders who are citizen. And to date, one of the first things I did before I came to the show, I spoke with my boy at Arawaki, and I said to him, listen,
Yes.
when last have you seen brother transgender? And he said transgender is still around the place. So he has not disappeared, which tells me that transgender are safe.
Possibly, but looking at it in this fashion, what the Ministry of Tourism should do, first of all, they should get a proper spokesperson.
Okay.
And they should look at it this way. First of all, they should offer condolences to the family of the individual who is purported to be in trouble. After they've issued those condolences, and they indicate, as you said, which was very powerful, what you said, to use your phrase, they should withhold any kind of statement until they do further investigation. And they should say they are carrying it out as you indicated. You are not only a great host, but you could be a great private investigator.
This is powerful.
Perry Mason is a joke to you.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at is that, yes, offer condolences, and we are unhappy about that. We love to have our tourists come to the Bahamas, and we don't want them harmed. But in this case, it looks like an international incident and not a local one. And therefore, while we offer our condolences, we await investigation not only from this side, but from the other side, because they have more powerful tools to bring about an investigation than we.
Yes.
And if the matter is done on the water, we can only ask our defense force to see what they could do to find out what is going on. But I'm saying, I believe it was a fast boat that did this, and it might have been in the dead of night.
Wow.
When, in Bahamians sleep.
Yeah.
They're not out.
Not in the dead of the night.
Not only are they not up in the dead of night,
and
they're not up early in the morning.
That is true.
I get up 5 o'clock every morning because I've been to St. Augustine's 8 in the morning till late at night, and I had to get up to go to Mass and then, of course, to school. And, of course, in my family, I was getting up when I was 9 years of age.
Wow.
To go to school. But you hit the nail on the head. And of course, your spiritual advisor also have a point. He has a point. Because we do not want negative publicity against our bread and butter, so to speak.
Yes.
But it is not negative
we do know
against us.
that at this very moment, at the Central Detective Unit on University Boulevard,
Yes.
there is a press conference being held in which an elite unit has been appointed to find this missing, quote, American woman, end quote, and to update the media. Certainly, Interpol should be involved. The FBI should be involved,
Right.
because we don't know the character of this missing woman.
Yes.
We don't know
No.
if this person is a person of good reputation, a person who may have run afoul of American law.
Yes.
So we don't know. That would have helped us to look for a suspect. certainly it would be improper for the Americans to suggest that the suspect is the Bahamas.
Yes.
Or should I say Paradise Island?
Indeed.
Yeah. So, you know,
Well, you make a good point. And when you say we don't know if he's a foul of the law, what you're talking about now is the long arm statute.
yes.
You know, the long arm statute was applied with respect to 90.
Yes.
At one point where they came over, brought the helicopter and spirited him out.
Right.
It was illegal here, but when he got to the United States, it became legal right away. It's called the long arm statute.
The long arm statute. Well, hold on. We have in studio Dr. Godfrey Propender. He's a former student of St. Augustine College. He's one of the greatest legal minds in the history of the modern Bahamas. God save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. God save the King. We'll be right back as we defend the sovereignty, as we look for the missing woman. Welcome back to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. Bradley Roll is my spiritual advisor, and of course we have in studio with us today Godfrey Propender. And Dr. Pinder is Bahamian. He is a former student of the St. Augustine College. He is one of the greatest basketball player here in the Bahamas. And of course, he has some of the greatest legal skills. And he is an intellectual extraordinaire. We shall be engaging him after the birthday shout-outs. And of course, there are new breaking news taking place. The Christian Council is going to have to call a revival. I must give you the breaking news before we do birthday so that we can get ready. Well, a former member of the Free National Movement, a former member of the Parliament, a former Justice of the Supreme Court, Elliot Branford Lockhart. Well, Interpol has just issued an international warrant for his arrest. And so this becomes striking. They're all over looking for him. You would recall that we had reported at one point that Elliot was believed to have been in Chicago. Chicago is the land of Al Capone. Al Capone is one of the greatest American gangster in the 1930s. And of course, Interpol has told in their statement that he was in the United States, but it appears that they are suspicious that he might be hiding in Cuba. And we are now receiving reports that Cubans don't extradite you. I don't know the Cubans' law, but they're up and down looking for Elliot Lockhart, and they have everything about him. The only thing that is missing is that he is a member of our party, the Free National Movement, but everything they have on him, the language that he speaks, his first name, his second name, his surname, who the family is, it's just phenomenal. I'm not going to read everything that Interpol is saying. I would be honored to do it just for the purpose of educating the public. But I do know Elliot Lockhart very well, and notwithstanding that I would hope and pray that he would surrender, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Elliot Lockhart. Prior to him walking the sinful line, he was an outstanding citizen, but these are the days that Mama talk about. So I'm going to invite my spiritual advisor to do the birthdays, and then afterward we're going to engage Dr. Pinder, who is a wonderful guest, my spiritual advisor.
Yes, we got a couple birthdays that, of course, we'd like to wish those who are celebrating, and maybe want to do travel. So we understand that Randy Forbes is celebrating his birthday today. Greetings is coming from his wife, Olga, and their daughters, Randy and Raj V. Forbes. Happy birthday to Randy Forbes. All the best to you. We hope you live to enjoy many, many more birthdays. Litany Russell, happy birthday to Litany Russell. They love you so much, they're proud of you. Wishing you laughter, fun, and joy. Have a wonderful time, have a happy birthday. Love always, your mother, Verna Russell. So happy birthday to Litany Russell. Anastasia Stubbs is celebrating birthday today. Happy birthday to the beautiful lady Anastasia Stubbs is coming from tomorrow. Your daughter Frederica, your son-in-law Jonathan, Jonathan Jr., your sister Kadashe, your mom Maria and father Daniel Stubbs, your brothers Dion, Diallo, and Shaniqua, aunts, uncles, family, and friends. God bless you with many more birthdays to come. Let's see. Okay, so RMA Ford, hats off. Good morning, family. It's official. last evening at the AGM for the Bahamas Aid Foundation. This HIC 7 Ray of Sunshine Cesar Forbes was voted as the new president. Lady Camille Love, going president, will be with her for this first year to ensure a smooth transition. We celebrate you. We know that your passion for this foundation. Look forward with anticipation to see what you will bring to the table. We support you and we're praying for your success, as we believe that God has placed you there for such time. So, congratulations to Aramay Ford. Special shout out to Dorian Panza. Shout out goes out to Dorian Panza for graduating with the highest GPA in Claridge Primary School, grade 6. Just coming from your mom, your dad, the rest of the Panza family. They all love you. They're so proud of you. All right, special shout out to Neve Martin. Or was it Neve Martin? This is a congratulations to Neve Martin, who attended St. John's College. Excellent congratulations coming in from a mom and father, Mr. Administrative Martin, and of course grandmother Shirley May Francis, and the entire Martin family and Johnson family. Congratulations to Neve Martin. All right, what do you have, Sandra?
Well, there are two birthdays that I do have. One happens to be Jalen Sands. So happy birthday to Jalen Sands, and happy birthday to Alonzo Bannister. In the case of Alonzo Bannister, greeting comes to him from his mom, Brown Hilda Wallace Whitfield, and of course, yeah, and his sisters and brothers and nephews and nieces and so forth. And then in the case of Yalen, you're talking
no, go ahead. Producer.
In the case of Yalen Sands, yes, I think it's called Yalen or Joy Lena Sands, from her parents and grandparents and cousins and aunties and uncle and all the family them. So kids, happy birthday to you. God bless y'all. My spiritual advisor.
Just give me a quick second. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they
you and,
are
the pro take care of things for a minute.
They are all of the birthday greetings, and of course, I do have my special guest, Godfrey Propinder, and we began the show by engaging him in a very controversial activity which occurred this afternoon at the Magistrate Court, which is located at Nassau Street and South Street, the big Magistrate Court, where it is reported that there was a shootout. A Negro man who had an adjournment on his case. Well, it is being said that as he exited, two Negro gunmen, heavily armed, ambushed him. They opened fire on him, but they were unaware that he also had some of his boys. They were waiting in a car, and according to the information which we have received, they opened fire on the men who were firing at the victim, and that culminated in police having to come, and at least 2 ambulances arrived. So it's a major event. Can you imagine shootouts around the court? And then, of course, the closest we came to that event is some years ago when a woman, deeply in love with a criminal lover, and she wrongfully submitted to his leadership. And everybody know that I've called on women to submit, but not in a criminal way. And she threw him a gun while he was in police custody. Do you know her hand was straight? And he caught the gun. And that became one chaotic situation. Praise the Lord. The police were able to capture him. You know, they didn't even shoot him. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I keep thinking that the police who pursued him, they must be, you know, Holy Ghost officers. and that was arrested. So we have to beefen up security. We have to tighten up security, because if they're bold enough to start shooting around the court, they shall be bold enough to enter the court. All right? So we have to beef up the security. Things are changing. All right? We have to just beef up the security and make sure that the judiciary is safe, that there's no
Yes.
intimidation. What you say, bro?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's what we wanted to point out. And then, of course, we talk about a case that took place on Paradise Island, where Dr. Pinder was involved in a case in which American was missing and then found murdered. Well, they were real females, biological. I don't know if you were in the Bahamas in 1977 when the Afro-American Mishika Shobeck, he would have been convicted prior to 1977. Mrs. Janet Bostwick, who was at one point your political colleague.
Yes.
You would recall that Janet and Henry,
Yes.
Sir Arthur and Sir Orwell, they all encouraged you to break with Sir Cecil,
Yes.
and you all formed the PDP.
That's right.
Is that true?
That is quite true.
And you would recall that they were so influential that the next thing you knew, they had you in Bamboo Town as the BDP candidate.
Yes, but I was in Abaco first,
You was in Abaco first.
and I was winning Abaco against Hubert,
Hubert
a former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Hubert Ingram.
and
And they wanted me to come to New Providence because they said I was very popular and I would draw a lot of people. And of course, they also said that 85% of the people in this country are my family,
yes,
and probably yours too, because
yeah.
we're family.
yes,
And so I came and I asked the late Cedric Parker to stand in for me, but he wasn't able to do a good job. But Hubert Ingram then was able to take advantage of it when I left and ended up winning the contest over there. But I was able to save my deposit over here because there
Yes.
was a split in the party.
yes,
And the split came about because Sir Orwell and the late Cecil Wasserfield had a disagreement. And of course, they decided to vote about it. So Orwell wanted to go into Centerville. And no, he was in Centerville. And Mr. Wells,
Tennyson Wells.
Tennyson Wells,
Yes,
who was on the side of Sir Cecil, wanted to go to Long Island. But Sir Orwell changed his mind in the middle of it and decided he would go to Long Island because he was from Long Island as well. So there was a disagreement. And Sir Roland was on one side and Cecil was on the other
Sir
side.
Roland Simnett, that's Brent.
The late Sir Roland Simnett.
Brent Simnett's father.
Brent Simnett's father.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, when I went to his house one time, I saw a picture of his great-great-grandmother. She was blacker than the pot. But black is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, you are a clear demonstration of that.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
This is powerful.
Indeed. And so that came about. And Cecil is one of the greatest political minds in the world, in the history of the world, certainly in the history of the Bahamas.
Yes.
So they decided to have a vote, and he asked Orwell to sit in the chair, to be chairman. And we came to a tie. And then Orwell decided he would get up and break the tie. And Sir Cecil said, no. In this case, the chairman cannot vote.
Wow.
And he couldn't vote, he couldn't break the tie. And Sir Orwell got so angry, he started fuming and carrying on. I ain't going to do this. And of course, the Simonets
Yes.
were on Orwell's side.
Yes.
Especially the wife.
Yes.
Because, at a certain point in time, Orwell would be provided with certain
Yes.
finances to distribute
Yes.
and so forth. And then that brought about a split. And they said, we need some parties. We
Right.
need a new party. Well, I drew up, aside from the constitution for the FNM I'd drawn up earlier, I drew up about 26 parties. and we got BDP, Bahamian Democratic Party, and
Wow.
then I was asked to run there. But they stopped me from running by causing me, I was representing the poop deck,
Yes.
and they had them have these regular meetings where I couldn't go anywhere. And so the people came to me and said, no, you got to come and meet. They're saying you're a white man. I said, white man? Why are they saying I'm a white man? They're saying you're a white man. They said, no black man can be as educated as you. He has a doctorate from Berkeley, California in law. He is a degree of utter barrister,
Wow.
which is a special barrister who took the English exam, not the Commonwealth exam. I competed with Englishmen. I won 2 debates in a row and was made honorary. And Lord Denning and Lord Hilsham, both in charge of the Court of Appeal and the House of Lords, signed my call to the bar.
Really?
Yes, they did.
This is powerful.
And of course, and so I went in eventually, and I was able to save my deposit because I came kind of late and I couldn't see all the people.
Right, right.
And so,
You did, yeah, I remember that election,
yeah, and
77.
of course we also had a little publicity when we had to go into court, of which you know about.
Of course, you
Yes.
did fantastic. But I brought that up. It kind of slipped my memory, but there was a specific reason why I made reference. Yes, you would recall that the African American who followed the Caucasian American to the Bahamas,
Right,
and he killed him on the beach
Right.
at Yamoussoukro.
exactly.
You would recall that Mrs. Janet Bostwick was the prosecutor.
Yes,
She was successful in having him not only convicted, but executed.
yes,
Do you remember when Sir Orville Turnquest and the late Eugene Depuch
right,
then filed an action in the Supreme Court to prevent Janet Bostwick from being successful in having Schobach executed? Do you remember that case? They were unsuccessful,
yes, I remember that.
but you do remember that case.
Yes,
And I was just wondering, in the case of this missing American woman,
man, woman.
whether or not we need to send for Mrs. Bostwick, because she did such a fantastic job.
I think we do.
Yeah.
And she still has a very sound, but she's a cousin of mine, and so is Henry on one side. Henry from Andres and she from Turks and Caicos,
Okay.
the Musgroves.
Yes.
She would be great in any capacity. I thought she was going to be Governor General, but that didn't come about. But she has such a brilliant mind even now, and of course, people like her and probably myself, we have a criminal mind. In that, there's a book called Criminal Mind.
Criminal Mind.
Yes, and you have
You
to
think-
digest it.
And you think Janet Bostwick has a criminal mind?
in the sense that she cannot be fooled by criminals.
Wow, this
She
is powerful.
yeah, you see, and you know, she at one point would say, "Yeah, you can fool this one, but I'm foolproof when it comes to that particular
This is powerful.
type of situation."
Yes, yes.
So she has the knack for this.
Yes.
She's just naturally brilliant, and she's humble with it.
Wow.
She's the one. They should call her out, and of course, if they would be kind enough to allow me to be her assistant, I would be happy to join her.
This is powerful. This is powerful. So, folks, these are some of the topical situations that are taking place.
Yes.
I wanted to divert for a second from the law, where last night the governing Progressive Liberal Party held a regional constituency meeting in Mount Moriah. Their Prime Minister Philip Davis was the principal speaker,
Yes.
and the Prime Minister has told PLPs to start mobilizing the branches, get ready, because election is inevitable.
Oh.
So it was a mass, that constituency meeting, that regional meeting turned into a mass rally, And of course, PLPs are now getting sharpened up, getting
Yes.
ready.
Yes.
So I would hope, or let me rephrase it, perhaps in the next couple of days, I shall start talking to PLP parliamentarians, PLP ministers,
Yes.
and attempt to set them in line as what it is to be ready,
Yes.
what it is to get ready as the battle cry is being made by the party leader, Prime Minister Philip Davis.
Yes.
So we're going to be looking at that.
Yes.
And of course, I shall be looking at that in context with me as a person who visited the Free National Movement Convention
Okay.
on the 1st of June. And you would recall that I visited my own, but they received me not.
Yeah.
So I shall be talking about that as I get ready to rally the nation
Yes.
in preparation for one of the biggest sally that you will ever see for those of us who are successful in living for that day.
Indeed.
So this is powerful. My spiritual advisor, is there anything on your mind that you perhaps would want to bring to the attention of Dr. Pender?
No, but the thing is,
He is an expert on many social issues.
Yes.
So there are many things that you could put to him.
Let me ask a question. Who won the most of the murder cases? Or who would have won more murder cases, you or Ortland Bodie?
Well, Orton likes to feel that he has won more murder cases than myself. It's between he and myself, and of course Lucille has his fair share as well.
Okay.
But I have won more murder cases not going to court than Ortland Bodie has
Wow.
won going to
Good
court.
God. Wow, that's
See,
interesting.
because this is the way you win it going to court. The most important 5 words in the criminal law is, I have nothing to say. And if you say nothing, and they have no evidence, you go home without even going to court after they hold you for 48 hours. Now here's the rub. I have clients who I have grilled. I mean, I bring them in a dozen at a time, and I say, now, whenever you are arrested, you give your name, your address, and when they ask you a question about the incident, you say, I have nothing to say. And so those persons who have done that cannot be even charged if there is no other evidence. And I had a man who was charged, or brought in really, for 4 murders, and he was sent home. And therefore, there are all these other individuals who have done that and said, I have nothing to say, and they went home. I have the knack, and fortunately, the Almighty has given me that knack, and I'm grateful, to get a man off if on Boxing Day, with all the Junkanoo and all the cameras from around the world.
Hold on, Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, Godfrey Pender. He's a former student of the St. Augustine College, a wonderful Bahamian, a good orator. He went to St. Augustine College.
Take that.
My spiritual advisor went to SART. God save the Commonwealth of Bahamas.
You better talk to him.
Absolutely. God save the king. Welcome back to Freedom Match. My name is Rodney Monker. Bradley Rule is my spiritual advisor. And of course, we have a special guest who's been here with us for practically the entire show. That's Dr. Godfrey Pro Pinder, a Bahamian citizen who, in his early days, he went to St. Augustine College, like my spiritual advisor. They both went to St. Augustine College.
Yeah.
And of course, Dr. Pinder went off to the United States for further studies, ending up in the UK.
Yes.
And then returning to the Bahamas perhaps around about 1975, 76, eh?
Yes, 75 actually.
75.
Well, actually October of 74, but I went away originally on a basketball scholarship
This is powerful.
to be the next Casey Jones at the University of San Francisco.
Wow, isn't it powerful?
Yes.
You went away on a basketball scholarship.
Yeah, I was the pioneer.
Wow.
So they finally gave me a little plaque and put me on the a group of best basketball players in the Bahamas.
This is powerful. So we are at a stage now where I'm going to turn it over to my spiritual advisor. He is going to invite calls. You could even put question to Dr. Pinder.
Absolutely.
I shall not tolerate any question that I, in my own personal judgment, deem to not be kind. And so I've instructed my producer that when he hear me say, hang up, I mean that. So, my spiritual advisor.
All right, we are at the call-in segment. Call us, please. 323-7775 is the number to call, 698-0775. And, of course, 698-0776. You can call us, engage us, anything you want to discuss, questions you may want to ask. You can engage Dr. Pinder if you want to on legal matters that you may have issues with. Maybe he can guide you through it. I think it's best to get him now. It could be free. Call him 323-7775, 698-0775, 698-0776. Let me ask you a question, Dr. Pinder. If a man is mentally challenged,
Yes.
can he do a will or a power of attorney?
If he's mentally challenged to the point where there's some lucidity there, he can, because there's something known as the it's an act where you are challenged. That act requires that a lawyer questions him fully to make sure that it was his intention to do it, and then he'll have to put a document on the top of it indicating that he questioned him and found out that he was lucid and that he is able to do the kind of will where his intention would be voluntary
At that time.
at that particular point in time.
That's interesting. I've heard that before, too.
Yes.
What do you say, Sandra?
Yeah, I quite agree with him. Counsel is referring to an attestation clause.
Yes.
Yeah, the law requires that.
All right.
I'm in full agreement with counsel as the justice of the peace.
Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live. 323-7775 is the number to call, 698-0775 and 698-0776. We have any calls waiting? Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live.
Spiritual advisor.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good. Rodney Monker,
So,
you have the king of lawyers with you today,
this is powerful.
Dr. Propinder.
How are you?
He used to be my neighbor on Emerald Ridge at one time. We used to be in the Breakfast Club by Kingsley Place there on Village Road.
Yes.
One of the first black Bahamian men ever owned a Rolls Royce honestly was Propinder.
Thank you.
I tried to rent his Rolls Royce for my wedding. Now he may know he's talking to now. Tell
Yes.
me, man, he had in the show. He should know he's talking to now.
I do.
Brother Bro,
Indeed, my brother. How
good
are
to hear
you?
your voice, my friend.
It's a pleasure to hear your voice.
And your song, as the days in the Breakfast Club by Kingsley on Village Road, you still sound strong, sir.
Well, thank you so
I
much.
must have called and say, you're still holding your own.
Thank you so much. Is the Breakfast Club still open?
No. Kingsley is not there no more now. Somebody else is running that now.
Oh, okay then. But
We moved to another location. I can't say it over the radio because I'll be advertising.
I
We
understand.
move in the Palmdale area now.
Oh, wonderful. But what you need to do is, I'm going to leave my number somewhere so that you can get it, and let's get
Leave
together.
your number with Brother Manka. I have a number for Brother Manka.
Okay, will
We
do.
can get together, sir.
All right, it would be my pleasure.
The first breakfast will be on me over National Radio. I promise you that.
Well,
And you just eat big time. You don't eat no grits and sausages and egg, and then you just eat the best.
Indeed.
I tell you.
Very much so. And the second breakfast will be on me, and even the
No
third.
problem at all. I know that, sir. You're not a stingy person. I know that, sir.
Thank you.
Utmost respect for you, sir.
You're very kind, and I
Thank
do
you.
respect you as well.
Yes, sir. God bless.
All right,
Same
take
to you.
care.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Call us 323-7775 is the number to call. 698-0775, 698-0776. Welcome to Freedom March. Caller, you live. Caller, you there?
Hello.
Yes, caller, you're live. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
Yeah, I got two questions for Pro Pinder.
Go ahead.
Mr. Pinder,
Yes, sir?
I'm gonna make two statements and I hang up and listen for your answer. Okay, Kendall Isaacs. Paul Addy.
Take your time. Be more slowly.
Kendall Isaacs and Paul Addy.
Yes.
Who was the most brilliant lawyer? That's one.
Yes?
Then the other question was, my memory so it could be right. The first time a person who charged with murder got bail was when Kendall Isaacs could represent. Remember when Brooks' wife killed his sweetheart? That was the first time that a person charged with murder.
Yes.
And I think Ralph Campbell was the Chief Justice then. So I'll hang up and let me hear what you say on those two questions. Thank you.
Give me the second question again.
Wait, he hung up.
We'll deal with the first one.
First one.
Kendall Isaacs, no doubt. Kendall Isaacs was a humble man, but he was the kind of man I never knew him to lose a case. And one time he was asked, how come you win so many cases? And he gave a simple answer. He said, it's in the book. And that's where it is. You have to look in the book. 95% of the lawyers in this country today don't use the book. They are unreliable. They don't keep their word. They just want to go into court and do what they want to do. And Kendall Isaacs was a model attorney. Now, Paul Adley was good. He was good. You can't take anything away from him. Very, very, very good lawyer. But I think Sir Kendall has edged him out somewhat.
Okay, thank you.
What's the second question?
I forgot the second question.
You said something about
Yeah, invite more
invite him
callers.
to call back.
Okay,
Invite more
call back
callers.
call so we get your second. Mr. Producer, narrow it to just those two for me, please. I can do something quickly. Welcome to Freedom March. Call you live.
Hello, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
We're doing well. Go ahead.
Fine, thank you.
Excellent. Rodney Wanka, my cousin. This is Attorney Keith Seymour.
Sir.
Mr. Propinder knows me well. He's a fellow Anglican.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
And my dad used to be the chief clerk in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And Pro was a real pro.
Yes.
And Pro, this is a very good show that Rodney did. And I'm glad that your story was shared.
Thank you.
I want you to share that thing why they just call you Pro. Because a lot of people don't know that. You're a very academic man.
Yes.
But you are a sterling athlete. A sterling athlete from the San Francisco Dons in the United States.
That's right.
So let them know why they just call you Pro and how close you were to being a professional basketball player.
Yes.
Just wanted to hang up and let you speak about that, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I'm called Pro because I went to St. Augustine's in 1952 till 57, and I was always first in my class, Latin, English literature, every particular thing, mathematics. And so they started calling me Professor. And then they noticed that I was the best in everything else, like debating, basketball, singing, dancing, and everything. So they called me professional. So instead of calling me professor on one occasion and professional on the other, they just say pro. And those people who know me don't say pro, they say pro, pro, pro 3 times.
This is powerful.
And so I was, in 1958, asked by Phil Woolput of the Dons, the coach of the Dons, to come over and play basketball after I was discovered by a Jesuit priest who had left the priesthood and came to the Bahamas. He saw me play and he thought I played like Casey Jones, one of the great basketball players of the Celtics. And they wanted me to go over there. And Phil Wilbur said, you can come, but we need to see your grades because we have a lot of players over here who are not getting C grades and we need to have people with good grades. So he said, if your grades are good, you can come. So he sent a postcard to say that. And we, Father Pryor, Father Frederick, sent my grades over on, I think it was that Tuesday. On Thursday, we got a postcard saying, come now, because I had straight A's. And when they saw the straight A's, they saw it in Latin, they saw it in geometry, they saw it in trigonometry, in mathematics, in English literature, and everything. They said, come. And he told me to come early. I wondered why. But when I got there, he had these various basketball players lined up for me to tutor. He said, Mr. Pender, these people have not been getting good grades. Can you please tutor them? They're great basketball players. They're not good grades. And of course, I tutored them, and they got C's and they stayed in. And of course, I was slated to be the next Casey Jones. Unfortunately, in my I think second, going on my third year, I slammed my shin bone into an outside pole and shattered my shin bone. And they said to me, well, you can play basketball and go pro, but you might lose your leg. You have straight A's, you can get an academic scholarship, or you can go pro and eventually lose your leg. I took a month to think about it, and after I thought about it, I thought I wouldn't risk my leg, and I would get the academic scholarship, and everything went from strain to strain. I got my doctorate at Berkeley in law, and then I went over to England and got my degree as a barrister. I think I'm probably the only one in the Bahamas who has that, where I'm called at the Bar of England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and of course I can practice anywhere in the Commonwealth, in Africa, Asia, Australia, Canada, anywhere, even on the moon, because because the Americans landed on the moon. I'm an American lawyer, and I studied air and space law.
Wow. Air and space law.
Air and space.
This is powerful.
Yes.
Wow. Do we have any other
So
caller?
that's the answer.
Any other caller? Hello?
Yes, hello, hello.
Yes.
Mr. Munkar,
Yes.
supervisor,
Yes.
and your guest. I call you to tell you what happened to me this morning. Mr. Munkar,
Yes.
I went to Foxhill Clinic to the dentist this morning.
Okay.
And when I went to the dentist, they cleaned my teeth,
Yes.
and they a little hole was in one of my teeth,
Right.
and they fixed that.
Okay.
After they fixing that, they give me a slip, give my daughter a slip,
Right.
to go down to the cashier
Right.
to pay money. A senior citizen, 90 years of age.
That's how old you are?
Yes. Now listen, what happened?
Okay.
Sounds
When
65.
she going to pay the money, they charge me $50.
Okay.
Senior citizen
Okay.
to fix teeth in the clinic now. They charging senior citizen money to fix teeth.
Now,
Mr. Munkar, I have never heard this in my whole entire life.
Okay, let me
What
ask you.
kind of people is this? Who taking care of the senior citizen people?
Listen to me now, for I am the leader
Wow.
Yes.
of the woman dam.
Yes, sir.
Who is your member of parliament?
Mr. Roland South Beach?
Parkers Row?
Yes, sir.
To whom am I speaking?
Mrs. McLean.
Mrs. McLean, this you again?
Yeah, this me again.
Okay.
I went to the dentist today and they charged me $50.
Did you pay it?
I had to pay it.
I shall make
But I
sure.
want my $50 back.
Tomorrow, I shall make sure. I'm going to go to the PLP headquarters.
Yeah, I tell them.
And the first PLP I run into, they gonna have to give me that $50,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna bring that to you
yeah, Mr.
because
Monko.
you have sacrificed for the
All
PLP
my days.
and for the PLP.
All my days.
So you don't.
Work in one hospital till they close it for 33 years.
Now,
Wow.
how does she pay
Wow.
that $50? Was it a straight $50 note?
50, no, it was $100 and they give a change.
Okay, so I shall make sure. I'm going to the PLP headquarters. I've been there
That
today.
is ridiculous, man.
I want you to hear me. I've been there today to complain to Miss Lula Mae Smith,
Oh, yeah,
and she allowed me to row.
yeah.
And Marcus Louis was with me. I wanted to show Marcus how, as an FNM,
Yeah.
I could row in the PLP
Yeah,
headquarters.
place.
And I row up and down.
That's a joke.
And no, I'm serious with that. And then Lula Mae told me it will never happen again.
Again.
So tomorrow, if God spare my life, I'm feeling good. I'm heading to the PLP headquarters.
Yeah, Mama.
Lula Mae is gonna have to find me $50 to bring to you,
Yeah.
or she gonna have to call the police for me. Okay?
Yeah, I want my $50.
Up
And I
there.
ain't, and they must, Mr. Monko.
Yes.
Fix the clinic down here in South Beach. We have our own clinic with our beds. They won't fix it.
Listen, the Prime Minister last night spoke to the party.
Uh-huh.
He told PLPs to get ready. And I promised to explain to PLP MPs what getting ready means. How
What
it
that
means making sure that Mama, who's 90, get proper social services.
Yeah.
So I'm going to demonstrate it, and I thank God that they charge you
Yeah.
so I can
So you
come.
can talk, you can row.
I can rob Lula Mae early. And I promise you,
Monko, I know you.
I promise you, I don't know if it can be a straight $50,
Well, I don't care.
but it can be 50, and I have a government car.
Yeah.
So my government car, I'm coming to see you. You have any mango?
I ain't no more mango, but I have pumpkin.
Well, I could use a piece of pumpkin because my
A
wife.
whole one, not a piece.
Well, get that for me. I'll share that with Lula Mae.
Yeah.
Because she can have to find $50 for you tomorrow. So if it's
Yeah,
God's
but
time,
then
my life,
I find one for you and one for Lula.
okay, we'll have that ready. We're gonna come there shortly after 9. Okay?
Okay, okay, love.
Do well.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere.
You stay right there for me tomorrow,
Yes.
if it's God's will.
Thank you very
She's
much.
such a wonderful woman.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
lost her husband, Dr. Pinder,
Oh,
in
wow.
1963.
My leader.
My condolences.
Pinling and Arthur Hanna called
Yes, ma'am.
a mass rally
On the Eastern Parade.
on the Eastern Parade. And her
Yes.
husband said to her, after giving her a kiss, say, honey, you stay with the children,
I going to the meeting.
I go into the meeting. And on his way back, somebody
Knock him off his bicycle.
knocked him off
Kill
his
him.
bike. Kill him.
Oh, my Lord.
She had no husband since then,
I'm
No.
not to be
and
sa-
that is the sacrifice she's given to the PLP.
Yeah, my oldest child was 14 years old.
That's right.
And my baby was 1 year and 3 months old.
Yeah. Take it from me.
Have my deepest sympathy, Mr.
Yeah.
If it is God's will, I am coming, and if I don't come, Marcus is coming. And
Come,
if
yeah, Marcus
don't
come. Marcus could get it.
Marcus don't come, then Yelex, Methodist will come.
Any one of them come and
They-
just tell me you send them.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay?
You do well. God
Thank
bless
you.
Yeah. Now,
Oh,
PLPs, I want you all to make sure that you get ready, because this election, I can win this election. All right? So I don't want no nonsense. I can win this election.
For who?
Remember what happened?
Win the
The
election
voice of
for
the
who?
drone, I went to my
Win the
party.
election for who?
And when I got to my party almost beat the hell out of me. Okay?
323-7775 is the number to call.
This is powerful, bro.
Welcome to
Yes.
Freedom Mark,
Yeah.
call you live.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. A pleasant good afternoon to you, distinguished gentlemen. Mr. Rodney Manco,
Yes, ma'am.
my spiritual advisor,
Good
and
afternoon.
Mr. Pinder. You guys do not know me because I'm calling from Grand Bahama.
Wow.
But I've been watching you. Mr. Manco, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Mr. Manco,
Yes.
I don't know if anybody has ever told you this, but God has you here as a host, but you're not a host. Do you know that you're a guardian angel?
Really?
Because the way you treat and talk to people, you bring us the information, that's powerful. I'm
Yes.
using your word.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Spiritual advisor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm going to say this to you, sir. You don't know me, but I've been watching you for a while. Miss, you are Michael and Gabriel to Mr. Manco. I don't have to explain that to you because you know what that means.
Absolutely, indeed.
And without you, there's no Mr. Manco. And Mr. Manco is a powerful man.
Yeah.
But
Indeed he
he's
is.
powerful because of you. No matter what you hear people say around there, you guys are awesome. Mr. Pinder, I'm 60,
Yes, ma'am.
but I'm a little girl to you because I've been hearing about you for a
Quite a
while.
long time.
Mr. Manco knows his stuff.
Yes, he
He
does.
brings the right people there to say what we, the Bahamian people, needs to know.
Yes.
And I appreciate you, sir. Mr. Manco, you don't know me, like I said, but I'm calling from Grand Bahama, and I was sitting here because I'm getting ready to go to Bible study.
All right.
But I had to tell you what the Holy Spirit said.
Yes.
thank
Mr.
you.
Manco, please don't stop what you're doing.
I thank
It
you.
doesn't matter what the negatives say, because always remember now, Satan is a negative,
Yes.
and he's competing with us. But the man you see there sitting on either your left or your right, the spiritual advisor, listen to him. He got your back.
This is
Absolutely.
powerful.
Believe me,
Indeed.
sir, y'all have a good day.
I
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you very
Thank you
much.
so
You were very kind.
They're both
Yes.
great men. You're quite
Take
right.
care.
Thank you.
323-775-6980-775, 698-0776. We have any more calls? Welcome to Freedom March Caller. You're live. Good afternoon, caller. You there?
I'm here.
Go ahead, caller. You're live.
Good afternoon, spiritual advisor.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Senator Mantle. God save the king.
God save the king, my brother.
And good afternoon to Master Propinder.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Wonderful. I have a question for you, my learned friend.
Indeed.
There was a lady that called 2 calls back, and she said that the clinics took $50 from her. Now, how is the police force, the immigration force, customs, and parliament, how are they paid? What are they paid by?
How are they paid?
Yeah, where they get their money from? Where their money come from?
The public treasury, yeah. Is it the public treasury?
They are by public treasury. Okay? Now, Princess Margaret Hospital and her clinic, isn't healthcare free in the Bahamas because of the taxpayers' dollars fund that hospital?
Yes.
Yes, yes, of course.
healthcare, we have socialized medicine.
Exactly.
You answered the question. You answered your own
Yeah.
question. Yes.
Yes.
So you asked a question?
Don't worry.
Go ahead.
What is the question?
The question is the taxation?
Well, let's put it this way. She has been charged
$50?
$50.
I understand there's a sign that says you have to pay at the clinic there.
She has been charged $50, and I shall take my complaint to the party,
But
and I will ask the party to look into the matter. So tomorrow, I will go to the PLP headquarters. I've been there this morning,
yes,
and I shall see Lula Mae Smith, who works for the PLP, who's one of their organizers. And I told her this morning, I come to Rao. She said, well, okay,
But-
Rao.
Mantra,
So I'm going to
I
say
think that's
that.
wrong. Allow Mr. Master Pupin to answer. Is that not double taxation?
He wants to know if you regard that as double
Double
taxation.
dipping.
It is double taxation,
Yes, sir.
double dipping. Yes, it is. You're right.
Thank you
You're
very
right.
much.
You're
That's all I
right.
call
You're right on
about
point.
Master Pro.
Okay, well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, caller.
Do we have another caller?
Yeah,
Hello?
Mr. Moncur, good night.
Sir,
How you doing?
right here, sir.
You got 20
All right,
seconds.
yeah. So just calling, y'all the two legends in the place right now. Let me try to turn on.
You got 20 seconds, caller. Go ahead
Yeah.
quickly.
Well, if that's all I had, then I just give gratitude to the show.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Bless
much.
y'all,
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks. Call us back tomorrow.
All
We
right.
have more
Dr.
time.
Pendle,
Yeah.
we're coming to
Yeah,
the end of the show.
You too.
Yes.
We want
Bye-bye.
to thank you.
It's my pleasure.
And what would be your passing remarks? What would be your final comments as the show comes to an end?
Well, looking at the overall thing, I've written a piece on the root causes of crime, and the root causes of crime in the Bahamas is lack of love.
Lack
We
of
need-
love.
We need to love our neighbors more.
Absolutely.
This
Indeed.
is powerful.
Indeed.
God save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. There's a lack of love. God save the King. We love him. God save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Let there be peace. Let there be the rule of law.
Yes,
This is powerful.
Indeed.
Dr. Propender, thank you.
my pleasure.
My spiritual advisor.
Until tomorrow, if it's
God
not well.
save the King.
Yeah.